Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to the NOFO Live Show, where I, Sunita, along with my co-host Tracy from Miss Tracy Kessler, we hop on every Friday and talk about everything North Fork. Oh my God, it's brutal hot on the North Fork. I mean, I love summer and I love heat and we're surrounded by water, but I'm sitting in my air-conditioned office and I'm hot, even in my office. Water, I guess PSA for sunscreen and maybe a hat, but definitely the best time to enjoy the beach and everything that the North Fork has to offer. Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
I'm good. I am also hot.
Like I literally feel sweat dripping down my face, but I'm like I'm in an air-conditioned room.
Well, I also just made a mad dash sprint from the house to the barn to get on show on time.
Well, I just kicked out my guests because my office is a half office, half guest bedroom, and my sister and my niece are visiting from India, and she was sleeping. And 3 minutes before the show, I was like, "Hello, young girl, you need to get
Let's go.
because the rest, I have split air conditioning, so it's not in every room. So only a few rooms have it. And I'm like, first I thought, oh, I'll sit outside, la la la. Then I was like,
no way, not today.
It's not happening. It's not happening. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just so happy it's Friday. I'm so happy it's Friday. You know,
Is
I
it
was
Friday?
on
I know. How
vacation
can we
last
forget?
week.
How can we forget it's Friday?
I know.
Well, there's so much to do on the North Fork this summer, right? So many events, so much stuff going on. So I am super excited. Good morning, Shelby.
Morning.
Super excited for today's guest. We can't wait to hear about, first of all, I can't believe it's 50 years of grape growing on Long Island. You know, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I actually would have said, frankly, that it was more given the popularity of Long Island wines and how popular it is to come out here and do the wine tours, that it's such a testament to the wineries that are out here that you've gained that much popularity in that short amount of time, you know?
Right. And you know, like, I mean, I only moved here full time a couple of years ago and we bought the house maybe 15, but my in-laws lived here since the 80s or since 79, actually, since 80. So they actually, I mean, it's not the early, but I guess it's pretty early. They actually saw the vineyards being planted, and my father-in-law loved wine. So there was a time he actually bought a tractor and thought about opening a vineyard like in the early 80s. And sometimes I wonder, so for a long time, the tractor sat on this property because that was his plan, right here in Southold. And then, of course, he didn't go in that direction. But it's kind of been great to watch the evolution of where it began and where we are today. It's amazing.
Yeah. I remember coming out as a kid to visit my great-grandmother and mostly saw potato farms, or this is what I recall, potato farms and pumpkin farms. That's what I remember. You know, I don't remember the wine.
I remember just the corn and potato farms. And the only reason I know the wine is because we had a tractor in the property. But there were very few. But anyway, instead of us telling the story, let's let Shelby, who's here today from Suru Wines, representing Long Island Wine Country. First of all, what is Long Island Wine Country?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Long Island Wine Country is the trade organization for the Long Island wineries. So it's a collective of about 40 different wineries that all come together to work together to put on different events, to advance the region, and to share information. So it's really our industry network of wineries.
How many wineries are a part of the wine country?
We have just shy of 40 that are active members at the moment, but that fluctuates year to year.
That's quite a lot. I mean, I don't know that people know how many vineyards exist locally here, but 40 seems like a very big number.
Yeah.
Yes. There are about 60 licensed wineries on Long Island, including both the North Fork, South Fork, and the Long Island AVA. So it is the majority of the industry that are active members, which is wonderful.
So the region.
Sorry, we have so many questions. What's the divide between North and South Fork? Because in my mind, I know that's not true that they're all on the North Fork, but in my mind they are. I know there's a handful on the South Fork, but what's the real divide?
In terms of numbers?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, in my mind, it's 90%. In my mind, it's 90-10, like 90% North Fork, 10% South Fork. But clear that up for us. Is that the?
It's pretty accurate. So there are on Long Island there are three AVAs, agriculture viticulture areas. So it's North Fork, South Fork, and Long Island. There are 3 main wineries on the South Fork. The vast majority of the wineries and vineyards are located on the North Fork, and then there are a handful further west as well. So we do have vineyards and wineries spanning all of Long Island.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good morning, Allie. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How about you guys?
I was thinking as both of you were going to be on today, because I know, Shelby, you were on recently and you mentioned your dad, and if somebody's had wine on the North Fork, then he probably has a hand in making it. And then I realized that you were going to be on, and I'm thinking, hold on, if you're not drinking his wine, then you probably had Allie's wine, because you have a hand in making wine. And so welcome. We're so excited to have both of you on today.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Allie, can you tell our audience and me like a little bit about your history and why you are involved in so many different wineries?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not so many, but I've been around for a while now. I've come to think of myself as like the middle veteran. So I'm definitely not at all one of the founding members, but I came along around in the midway point, and in my head, I'm 30 something, but not, so So I look around so I look around and I see all these, like 30 somethings. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like I'm in the middle point right now. So, but interestingly, I have a lot of history with Shelby's family, because when I came out to the North Fork to start producing, that was back in 2006. I had started my wine career in 2000. And when I came out to the North Fork, I worked for a couple of harvest seasons with Shelby's father at Premium Wine Group. So he's had a ton of influence on me and my winemaking, and he's always been an incredible support for my business. And like if you need to know something or you need advice, like you go to Premium Wine Group and you talk to Russell. Like he's the center, brain of the North Fork universe, in my mind. So, I started my winery first as Brooklyn Enology. I had been living in Brooklyn at the time, but I opened up the tasting room and the whole sales office in Brooklyn, but I'd always been doing the production on the North Fork. And since then, my now business partner, Robin Epperson McCarthy, she and I met because she was the lab director at Premium at the time. And we, for several years, had done our own thing in the industry. And in 2014, we joined forces, and she started her brand, Saltford Cellars. And we've been kind of operating as sister brands for a while. And over the years, between us, we developed 5 different brands, and then changed the company name to Chronicle Wines in 2019. And
this is the one that has the tasting room on Peconic Lane.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So, the two of us have been, part of this scene for multiple decades at this point. So, and since then, I've become winemaker at Croteau Vineyards as well. I started with Croteau in 2015. Yeah.
I'm smiling because anybody, especially if it's a group of girlfriends, anytime my girlfriends come to visit, I'm like, that's like on the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it's pretty much made for that.
And
it's like, if there's anywhere to have tasting room,
that's the one to go to.
Yeah. And it's like, I send my friends there, not just because I'm the winemaker, but because it's such a great place to sit and just be. And I like to think the wine's not too shabby either. So,
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks. Keep them coming back. Yeah.
Okay, so you make the rosé and you make a couple other brands, and I just recently realized that you also started a label for, I would call them my friends, but the Little Ram Oyster Company, which to pair with the oysters. I feel like everywhere I go, I can't avoid an Ali Shipper one.
I'm everywhere, lurking behind. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so great.
We just released that this summer, and for several years, I've also been producing the rosé for Love Lane Kitchen.
Okay.
And yeah, and I have a few other things that I make for a couple of accounts in shops and restaurants in the city as well. So I do a lot of. I'm busy, very busy behind the scenes.
Well, and obviously, you're very passionate and you love winemaking, because I've chatted with you a couple of times, and your enthusiasm is just like you're like happy with what you do.
Can't shut me up. Yeah.
Okay, so can we just touch a little bit about the Long Island wine region itself and what makes it, I don't know, what makes it so great for growing the grapes that allows our industry to be so popular beyond the region?
Yeah. I don't know. Shelby, you want to feel that one, or?
I'll start, and
Yeah.
then you're we'll tag team.
Yeah.
So Long Island is primarily glacier deposit. So it's really our climate that, in my opinion, and I think, it's widely accepted throughout the region, that our climate is what makes us so unique. We are a cool climate, cool maritime climate. So because we are surrounded by water on 3 sides, the water really acts to moderate our temperatures, keeps us from getting too hot in the summers and too cold in the winters, which allows for really optimal growing. And then we are all glacier deposits. So the North Fork is primarily all sandy loam, which is very porous soil, so very good drainage, which is ideal for grape growing. On the South Fork, you have a little bit more of topsoil mixed in, so slightly different terroir to their growing conditions, which is why we do have the different AVAs across Long Island. But you do tend to see, because we are also so close to the water, you tend to see that minerality, that salinity coming through in our wines. And on our reds, we get that really nice, delicate, elegant, fruit-forward flavors throughout, because we do have really nice growing conditions through the fall.
I was reading an article, and it was talking about how, I don't know if you guys put it out or somebody put it out, at the beginning of when the industry started here, they were kind of modeling what the Napa Valley was doing, but then realizing how our soil is different, it sort of shifted to more the way what grapes are grown in Bordeaux, right? I just read that article recently, and I was like, how interesting, because a lot of it, obviously people enjoy the wine and they're happy, but there's a lot of science into what you grow and how that transforms into the wine and what is possible in this region, right?
Oh, yeah, very much. And wine is, whenever a new wine region is established, often it starts with, modeling something that looks similar, but then over years, and it takes years because you only get one crop of grapes a year. I make the analogy that trying to it's kind of like being a chef and making your 1 8-course grand meal one time a year.
Right, because
as opposed
to grow the tomatoes first.
Right.
You have to grow the tomatoes before you can
Yeah. And so, otherwise you can make 20 omelets in the morning and perfect it in the morning, but you can't make, 8-course meal, you just have that one chance a year to make it. So it takes years to discover what is the pattern of climate in your area, to really understand what grape varieties work where you are. And so that takes decades, it's why all the old world wines coming out of Europe, they're so revered because they're so well practiced after centuries and centuries of study. It's not like software where you have a glitch and you fix it and everything's fine in 20 minutes, and so what we're discovering now is that not only are we need to grow grapes much more, oriented in, say, French, sort of what I'll call Middle Europe, that are coming from central France or northern Italy or Germany, because those are the types of conditions that we experience here on Long Island, as opposed to, say, the Central Valley of California, where it's, over 100 degrees every day and much, much, much drier. So the way we tend our vineyards is different. The way what we grow is different. But we've also discovered that we have incredible variety that we can grow too. And it's rather spectacular as a winemaker, because we're not just beholden to, Napa Cab, and they grow much more than Cab in California, let's say, but we're not just growing Merlot and Cabernet Franc and Chardonnay. We have Sauvignon Blanc, we have Riesling, we have Gruner Veltliner, we have Chenin Blanc, we have Pinot Noir, we have Cabernet Sauvignon, we have et cetera, et cetera. We have over 40 commercial varieties that we grow and produce wine out of across Long Island. It's extraordinary.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Long Island wine country, are you guys working together to try to get like the word out even farther and on more restaurant menus, and to see a better representation of Long Island wines on restaurant menus?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've been doing portfolio tasting. So we invite trade and industry to come, and we've been doing 2 of those seasonally per year. And it's constant outreach by individual wineries as well, just simply as part of the sales effort. And sometimes travel to other states to do wine shows and so on, literally pour and sample for people, for industry members, so they can get the idea. It's not just a story they read in a magazine. They can taste it. They can talk to winemakers and professionals in our local industry and understand what our wine industry is all about and what we do.
And I guess, time is helping with that too, right? Like you said, it takes decades to practice. And now here we are pretty much 5 decades later of growing grapes. The wine has definitely gotten, more interesting and more, I don't want to say drinkable, but it's definitely been refined to the point where it is now being used in New York City. I mean, I do see it in places, sometimes even in New Jersey at the liquor stores when I go in, I'm like, oh, look, you have wine from the North Fork.
Right.
And
Yeah. You're like,
hey.
I think there's a whole side of the wine and liquor industry that I'm actually familiar with, which is the distribution side of it. And, a lot of it depends on who distributes or whether you're self-distributing your wine. I produce the New York City Wine and Food Festival, and I don't see enough representation of Long Island wine there. And sadly, it's because we work with one single distributor. And I'm constantly saying to that distributor, why don't we have more Long Island wines? Like, you guys should have more Long Island wines on there. So I'm hoping that, I'll keep getting that in there. Maybe we could have you guys come to a meeting with me and
sure. Yeah. We'll take all the ambassadorship we can get. We'll take it all. Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch to celebration and party mode.
Yeah.
Right? As we said at the top of the show, it's been 50 years that you're celebrating. So talk to us. I know you've already done some smaller events, one in New York City, is it at the Beekman, which was great. So talk to us about what celebrations are planned on the North Fork.
Sure. So our big celebration upcoming is our grand celebration, which is the culmination of the 50th anniversary celebrations, which is going to be happening on August 19th, Saturday, August 19th, at 5 o'clock. It is going to be held at Peconic Bay Vineyards, and we are doing a large celebration of the region. We'll have over 35 wineries present and showcased, as well as over 20 local restaurants and purveyors. So it's a slightly different wine style event than I think a lot of the events that you've seen in the past. Typically, each wine has its own booth, and restaurants are often paired with the winery. Walk around and you taste at each individual winery's table. At this event, we're doing something a little bit different. We really want to showcase the breadth and diversity and quality and style of the region. So we have all of the wines from the wheat region, and we have a little over 130 wines that are going to be poured at this event, at the main event. So they are grouped into a number of different categories. So we have maritime minerality, we have cellar treasures, we have fermentation station, we have a number of different categories of styles of wine, then broken down into subcategories where you can taste, for example, a selection of Long Island Cabernet Francs, a selection of Long Island varietal rosés, a selection of very fruit-forward whites. So we've grouped those into styles, and then we paired them with local restaurants or purveyors to showcase our local produce, our local seafood, our local poultry and beef that really complement those styles. So this is really designed to be a celebration of the of Long Island wines, as well as the food that goes along with it. So it's going to be a really great event.
Well, as soon as we found out about it, Tracy and I already bought our tickets, so we are there.
Good.
First of all, I want to see that, so we're looking forward to it.
Bring
I'll
everybody.
eat, she won't drink, but we're there anyway.
Yeah.
But the other thing I think I want to point out, what I really loved was, I mean, obviously we go to food and wine events and they're great, but it's so much about showcasing each individual vineyard. But I love what you guys are doing, where it's about, okay, this is rosé, and these are the people that are making it, and then you get a better chance, or to figure out which, how each one is different, rather than one vineyard two vineyard. I love that, and it so feels like Long Island wine country, like it's a coalition, and you're showcasing the region rather than one against the other, if you will.
Yeah, from an event producer standpoint, I love the way that you're doing it, and it does feel very much more collaborative, which is what this celebration is about. So I love that you're going in that way. What are some of the restaurants and farm stands and such that we can expect to see paired with some of these wines?
Sure. So we have a really great lineup and list. We've got everybody listed on the Country website. So if anyone wants to take specific look, but we have Amano, Allure, we have Brymere's, we have Wickham, we have First and South, we have Bronze, Frisky Oyster, Lovely
So
Kitchen.
everybody's going to be there. The North Fork is
It is
there, basically.
Yeah. The who's who of the North Fork. Yeah.
Fork is gonna be there.
Yeah.
Restaurant, and they will be there. So we've got a really, really great showing. And then we're going to have local oysters.
I see Little Ram just hopped on, so I'm assuming or hoping they will be there.
Hi guys.
Well, and I think that's important. We just jokingly said the who's who of the North Fork and all these fantastic restaurants. And everyone knows I don't drink. But I bought my ticket the minute the announcement came out, because I was like, this is a celebration of the North Fork, and the wine aspect of the North Fork is such a big component of it. And it was kind of like, I don't want to miss this party just because I don't drink. I want to go and hang out with everybody and, have food and socialize. And it is really going to be quite the who's who and the party not to miss, I think.
Oh, yeah. And to your point, Tracy, I mean, that's really the point of making wine, is to bring people together. That's why we do it, and it's not about, getting it on. It's about spending time together and slowing down and looking each other in the eye and sharing stories and effectively coming around the dinner table, if you will. So this is going to be one giant dinner party, I think, with all of our friends from across the region.
So tickets are still available, correct? Tell us how, for those who haven't got their tickets yet, how they can get them and where to go.
So the tickets are on sale on the Long Island Wine Country website. So it's liwines.com /50th anniversary. And those tickets are still available. They are $160 per person. And then we do have a couple of the VIP tickets left, which gives you early access to the event and access to a private VIP tasting space, as well as some reserve wines and a special curated food pairing with those. So we do have a handful of those tickets left, but they are going very, very quick. I expect they will be sold out in the next couple of days. So if you want a VIP ticket, I highly recommend jumping on that now.
We will be contacting you about how to upgrade our tickets.
Because we bought
them the second you sent that email out. So now we want VIP.
So tell me obviously it's an evening event. What time is the event? August 19th, correct?
Yeah, August 19th. The event is from 5 to 8 p.m. With VIP starting at 4:30. And it's at Peconic Bay Vineyards in Cutchogue.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Also, all we need now is this beautiful weather, right? I mean, I don't know about this particular one because it's very hot.
Yeah,
less humid. Yeah, less humid, but yeah.
Yes. But sounds great. Sounds great. We are so excited and looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Awesome.
Looking there.
Yeah,
And
it's going to be quite the bonanza. It'll be great.
We won't have another one for another 50 years. So you really don't want to miss this.
Well, maybe we
yeah,
need like
I don't want to miss it, but I don't want to wait another 50 years for the
Yeah.
celebration. I feel like Long Island Wine Country should celebrate, everything. Like we were saying, it's, when you buy wine in a liquor store, when you don't live in this region, it's about the wine, which is great. But when you live here, I see you guys as farmers first. Because like you said, you first have to grow it because you see so much green here. It's about so much more than just the bottle. So I feel like this celebration, I love watching, even as I drive past, as the seasons change, when the wines are trimmed and there's really nothing and a bare root, and then the first sign of the leaves growing, and then a week later, the wines are just everywhere going to the sunshine. So I love watching the whole progression and the harvest. Oh my God.
Well,
so I think
you bring up a really good point, Sunita, that the wineries and how many that we have out here is a huge part of why we all think it's so beautiful out here, because there is so much farmland still. There is so much green still as you're driving, from Riverhead out. And, I often will switch whether I'm taking North Road or Main Road, because I'm like, ooh, what do I feel like seeing today? And I'll drive a different way out.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The experience that you get of the wine from a liquor store is great, but the experience that you get of watching the fields, come to life, and just the seasonality of what's going on. And then, there's a downturn in winter. And like I said, I love the harvest, just seeing the tractors or the equipment that even goes between, I don't know what they're doing. I guess they're trimming. You don't use equipment to harvest, correct?
Sometimes you do. Yeah, depending on what it is you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, but
I just even love watching as the grapes are lush. Like a lot of us want to go touch them, but I'm very respectful even when I walk in a vineyard, because I realize that every grape is important and you don't want,
pet the
although I won't
grapes.
pick one. I won't pick
Nice
one
grapes.
off the farm. Or are we allowed to pet them, just so we know?
As long as you're gentle, nice and gentle.
Yeah, no, I look but don't touch. That's my philosophy. So if anybody sees me walking in their vineyard, just know that I'm looking, not touching. Because that's one of the perks I feel like of living here when I go out for the walk. Obviously there's a beach, but the idea of being able to walk in a vineyard or have yoga in vineyard, and so many beautiful aspects of what the vineyard offers goes so much beyond the wine.
Oh, yeah. We're blessed. We're blessed to be able to pursue this as a living, as a career, and to be living in this environment. I mean, we have such a unique spot in the universe. Where else can you think of where the vineyards are so close to the water, where we have beaches? You can't go more than 5 miles in any direction basically and hit water, and you can't go more than 5 miles in any direction and hit a farm. It's extraordinary. How did we get this lucky? I don't know.
Well, and speaking of lucky, not each vineyard, but so many different vineyards have such a different culture, if you will, and such a different vibe. You can walk into a vineyard and have chickens crossing the road, and then you can walk into a vineyard. I mean, I haven't been to Oldfield yet. I still need to but then you can be overlooking the bluff and overlooking the sound, and and then you can go to Coteau and just have only rosé. It's incredible, the verse. So on behalf of all of us, thank you to all of you for everything that you do in all the vineyards, in all of you.
And I'll remind you that our customers are the other very important side of this industry, because without you guys, we've got nothing. So thank you for appreciating.
And it's very annoying in Instagram if a message or call comes through, it mutes your volume. So your last sentence cut off. But.
Yeah. Oh, well, I meant, thank you for supporting us and championing our industry, and and cheering us on and buying and enjoying our wines, because without you guys, there's nothing. So.
Well, we're very excited for the event coming up and for everything you guys are doing and celebrating. So congratulations on 50 years and for the part that you both have played in that.
Thanks.
And
thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. We are beyond excited, and we will post the link for the tickets in our stories, so you can just click there. And like Shelby said, the VIP tickets are limited, so if you're interested in that, definitely check those out. And we will have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday, but we'll also see you August 19th for the celebration.
Awesome. So see
Thank
y'all
you.
there.
Bye.
Thanks for being on,
Thank you
ladies.
both.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.